the fraud capital of the world. Is it Minnesota or is it California? Both are absolutely awful. We're going to get into all of the fraud being uncovered by independent journalists and a state auditor in California. Two blue states battling it out. Yes, of course, this is Stinchfield, the podcast. Welcome to the program. So we're going to go through Somali and Nick Shirley and what he has uncovered with the Somali community in Minnesota, literally doing what the mainstream media refuses to do. I don't say what the mainstream media can't do, because the mainstream media could do this. Nick Shirley literally shows up in Minnesota at all these daycare centers, and there's no kids. And he can prove that they're taking in millions of dollars, and yet they're not servicing any children. Certainly appears to be fraud. We'll go through Nick Shirley's report. And then the state auditor in California. Supposedly, he's a nonpartisan actor in California. The state auditor. Now, I've got to believe he's a Democrat, which makes this even worse. The state auditor found billions and billions of dollars of waste, fraud, and abuse in 8 separate agencies, labeling them high risk. This puts in question Gavin Newsom's leadership. It was already in question, but it certainly puts his political aspirations in peril. But the mainstream media doesn't really want to cover this either. Gavin Newsom, their golden boy in California. We're going to talk about all of it today on Stinchfield. Before we do, folks, let me tell you about my friends over at Patriot Mobile. Right now, Patriot Mobile is offering a great deal. PatriotMobile.com/Grant. You get a free phone or a month's free service. The promo code is Grant. I want you to use it, okay? America's only Christian conservative wireless provider. If you're still with your old cell phone company, I know when you hear me do these ads, you say, man, I got to switch. I'm telling you, I got my sister to switch over the Christmas holiday. There is no reason to be with the left-wing cell phone companies. You choose what network you want to be on, which means they have a performance guarantee like no other, 100% U.S.-based customer service, and Patriot Mobile believes in the very things we believe in. A portion of the proceeds that you pay for your cell phone bill goes to helping veterans, goes to helping mothers who are having babies that are in need, goes to helping put conservative school boards in place. This is what Patriot Mobile is all about. Make the switch today. 972-PATRIOT, 972-PATRIOT, or you just go online, patriotmobile.com/Grant, and use that promo code Grant after you tell them that I sent you. All right, with that, folks, let's get the show started. Here we go.
Uncensored and unapologetic. This is Stinchfield. Here's your host, Grant Stinchfield.
All right, folks. Well, I want to start with California. And the reason why I want to start with California is everyone's talking about Minnesota. Nick Shirley, this independent journalist, uncovered a blockbuster amount of fraud, over $100 billion worth of fraud in Minnesota. You've got $100 billion plus fraud in California. And I want to go through some of the numbers with you out of the state auditor's office in California. So we're talking about the so-called nonpartisan state auditor's office gives failing grades to 8 of the major state agencies. 8 of them. Now, high-risk labels go to these agencies for waste, fraud, and abuse. Clearly, this has a political impact for Gavin Newsom. Clearly, public perception is going to be diminished. I don't know how Californians haven't woken up already and realized public perception of what the state is doing, as they now are going to face a $17 billion deficit. Gavin Newsom has missed his state reporting for the credit rating bureaus, which means their credit rating as a state is going to be put in jeopardy. They have total fiscal accountability questions that are now being called into question as I look at some of the numbers. Unemployment fraud, $32 billion in unemployment fraud. Homeless funds lost, $24 billion in homeless funds lost. You've got this non-existent bullet train, $18 billion spent. There's not an ounce of track laid for the bullet train. And they paid $650 million for a 911 system that has ultimately been scrapped. So Kevin Kiley, the congressman from Northern California, was instrumental in exposing some of this auditor's report. This is how the correspondent on Newsmax laid it out. I'll play it for you to give you some background, and then we'll go through it line item by line item.
Good afternoon to you, Katrina and Andrew. This latest report was issued by the state auditor, and that's a nonpartisan position. That state auditor now puts 8 state agencies on the high-risk list of agencies to watch out for things like fraud and mismanagement as well as waste. Here's a look at that 92-page report. Newly added to the high-risk list is California's food stamp program. If the state doesn't get the improper payments under control, it could cost an extra $2.5 billion. Also on there is the Department of Finance, which was tasked with giving out COVID relief funds. Critics say $32 billion of that was taken by fraudsters. And there are
$32 billion in COVID relief funds. I'm looking here. You've got $4.6 million on monthly service fees for unused mobile cell phones. Apparently during COVID, the state went and bought all these employees mobile phones so they could work from home as if they don't have their own mobile phone. It's unlimited data, unlimited calling on just about every plan. Go back to Patriot Mobile. That's what you get there. What are you buying them cell phones for? They can use their own cell phone. Even, what was it? It was 2011, 15 years ago when I left NBC. NBC, it says, you got to provide your own cell phones. We're not paying for your cell phones anymore because it's unlimited data, unlimited service. California, too dumb to figure it out. So they spend millions of dollars on mobile devices.
Structure issues like California's deteriorating dams and also the high-speed train that's already cost taxpayers $18 billion without a single section of track complete. Other reports cite $24 billion spent on the homeless issue that critics claim the state lost track of. More recently, there's a report that says California cell phone users paid a surcharge for years to upgrade the state's 911 system. Here's Congressman Kevin Kiley talking about what happened to that plan.
That after spending $650 million on that system, the state is totally scrapping it and starting over, completely wasted the money because the technology doesn't work. Mind you, we are very close to Silicon Valley in Sacramento, and yet the government can't figure out how to make basic technology perform.
Now, even worse than that is it was a surcharge on your cell phone bill. So now you're paying an extra surcharge, a tax, to pay for this new 911 system that ends up being a complete joke and not even working. This is a situation of waste. It's a situation, I don't know if fraud played into it or not, but it certainly is a situation of mismanagement. Where does mismanagement start? It starts at the governor's office. The governor is ultimately responsible for this. How does he allow this? Once this would come across my desk, if I was governor, I'd be like, are you crazy? I'm hauling everybody in there. You're either getting fired or you're fixing it. Improper unemployment insurance payments. This is including fraud, continue to be substantial into the billions, they're estimating, according to the California Globe, through an updated report focused on ongoing improper payment rates rather than a new total. Medi-Cal eligibility and questionable payments. Past audit cited $4 billion in questionable payments to Medi-Cal. That's their Medicaid type system. So all of this adds up to waste, fraud, and abuse at the highest levels. What does this mean for Gavin Newsom? If the media would cover it, it could be devastating for him. But the media is not going to cover it. How do you go from running a state that actually was pulling in enough money to pay its bills to a $17 billion deficit? Mismanagement. Being exploited by waste, fraud, and abuse. $24 million for the homeless industrial complex. $24 million. And what happens with homelessness in California? It gets worse and worse and worse. They do a homeless count each year, and the numbers go up, not down, and they're spending $24 billion on homelessness? My Lord.
Yeah, so this came from the nonpartisan state auditor, which essentially christened California the fraud capital of the United States. With the number of agencies classified as high risk, meaning there's rampant fraud, abuse, mismanagement, it has doubled during Gavin Newsom's tenure from 4 agencies to 8 agencies. So we're talking about all kinds of fraud when it comes to Medicaid, when it comes to SNAP benefits, when it comes to uninsurance benefits. And all of this, by the way, comes on top of the incredible fraud and waste and mismanagement that we already knew about. The high-speed train where there's been no track laid in 17 years, spending $18 billion, the $32 billion during COVID at a minimum of unemployment insurance fraud, the $650 million on a canceled 911 next generation system that was canceled because the technology wasn't there. And so California is absolutely, under this governor, the fraud capital of the United States. And this is exactly the model that Governor Newsom wants to take to the rest of the country.
I agree. And when you think about Gavin Newsom, God forbid he took over the White House, you don't think we'd go right back to the point of waste, fraud, and abuse and mismanagement that Elon Musk had exposed at a federal level? This is the exact model. This is the deep state at work, enriching their friends, capitalizing on the mismanagement in order to defraud the taxpayer in California. This is the model that had been going on at the federal level for a very long time. It still's happening there. But now President Trump is cutting back on that. You put Gavin Newsom in charge of the federal government, the same thing will happen that happened to California. You'll bankrupt it. People are leaving California for a reason. There's a mass exodus from that state. The taxes are too high. The regulations are too high. The energy costs are too high. There's not enough job market. Real estate costs are too high. Rent is too high. Food is too high. It's nearly impossible to live in California.
Well, you got the governor's attention because he responded to you saying, quote, Kylie is wrong. The auditor's high-risk list does not allege wrongdoing or billions in currency lost. It is a management tool used to target complex programs for heightened oversight and corrective action. Representative Kylie's claims are flat out false and
Do you see what Newsom's doing? He's literally trying to flip the script. The auditor's report labeled the agencies high risk. They found waste, fraud, and abuse totaling hundreds of billions of dollars, over $100 billion. And Gavin Newsom's going to say Kylie's lying?
This represent both the state auditor's report and the facts. Quick, your reaction to this?
I'd invite anyone to read the audit. And by the way, there have been other audits, like the one that found that $24 billion was spent on homelessness, and they lost track of the money.
Well, that's the best comment of all. You don't have to take Kylie's word for it. You don't have to take Stinchfield's word for it. You don't have to take Jason Chaffetz' word for it. Read the auditor's report. It's that simple. And you'll see for yourself there was mismanagement at every step of the way in California. So California, over $100 billion in fraud. What about Minnesota? Minnesota could total over $100 billion as well when you start adding up the numbers. This Nick Shirley, boy, he is something else with what he's been uncovering. We're going to go through some of that here in just a moment. But before we do that, let me tell you about my friends over at the Wellness Company, twc.health/grant. Use the promo code GRANT. Some things I want to tell you about. Ultimate Spike Detox. This should be a daily supplement for you. It will get the spike protein out of your system, whether that spike protein was from the COVID vax or whether it was from COVID itself. This will get the all terrible spike protein out of your system. There is the Mars product. This is for men. You want to last longer? You want energy? You want stamina? Mars. This is a testosterone booster. Amazing, amazing stuff. And then there's, speaking of energy booster, methylene blue. I love this product. All of it has been so great for the Wellness Company. A whole slew of daily products on there, including the emergency medical kits. Every home should have one. twc.health/grant. Use the promo code GRANT. You can get ivermectin from TWC. There's ivermectin in this kit as well as so many other of the antibiotics, antiparasitics, and antivirals that you need to keep you and your family safe. twc.health/Grant. Use that promo code GRANT for 10% off. All right, Nick Shirley doing absolutely phenomenal work. Have you seen what he's been highlighting? President Trump was talking about it. Don Jr. is talking about it. Anybody who's anybody is talking about the work Nick Shirley did that the mainstream media couldn't. Well, I say that the mainstream media wouldn't. They could. They just don't. He literally just paid a visit to what appears to be child care centers that may be taking state funds. Maybe. Listen.
A list of all of the healthcare companies. Loads of them right here. We want healthcare.
No, it's okay.
Yes, we'd like to speak about getting healthcare here.
No.
Why can't I get healthcare here?
No, wait.
Warning, you are under video surveillance. No trespassing, security, armed. This is the strangest place I've ever been to get healthcare. Just a bunch of different places. Healthcare here, healthcare right here. Another healthcare company right here. There are 3 healthcare companies inside of this building right here in this room of 7C. Now,
so here's what's amazing. They go to one building and they find healthcare company after healthcare company after healthcare company, but nobody will offer them healthcare. I'm about to show you when they go to child care centers and nobody will offer them child care. So what in the hell is going on in Minnesota, Nick?
now we have another Helping Hands, Home Care LLC, another healthcare company. Present Help right here. We're looking for the best rates of healthcare here inside this building because we have so many options. Who can we talk to about getting the best healthcare?
I don't know.
No?
Sorry.
All right. We will not get any healthcare here. David, this is one of the stranger places I've ever been. Literally, healthcare every door you go to, yet nobody will give you a rate. How much money do you think's been funneled through this building?
Every year, I would say 50 to 60 million at least.
And finally, we were accepted.
$50 to $60 million through one building where there's healthcare company after healthcare company after healthcare company. Now, I want to say this. Those healthcare companies that he named, you're more than welcome to reach out to me, grant@grantstinchfield.com. I'm happy to talk to you. I don't know if you're creating any, committing any fraud or not. I don't know. I don't think Nick Shirley knows. But there's certainly questions. You have all these healthcare places that aren't offering healthcare. So what in the world are they doing?
Into one of the daycare centers, and they actually took down our information to give us a rate. However, when we left, we were then met with the police.
We received a complaint that gentleman matching your description were in this building harassing the individuals who stay here.
Oh, we're just seeing.
See, this is interesting. I mean, the cops are nice about it. These guys have a right to walk through the building. It's a public building. Now, the landlord can tell them to leave from the hallways. I'm not sure the individual businesses can. So they kicked them out under a trespassing rule. They don't write them any citations. But I think they have every right to be there. And you would think the police would be a little more understanding of what's going on with all the talk about the fraud in Minnesota.
And we're checking out the rates for healthcare because there's 14 healthcare companies inside this building. So,
okay.
Well, that's not what he said. He said there's 14 companies here, and he's trying to assume because they're Somali providers, everyone here is fraudulent.
Okay.
So
he's here with some kind of like propaganda.
No, we're just checking.
No, this is a area that we're allowed to enforce trespassing ordinance. Is there any other reason that you guys are here?
Well, we were checking rates.
No, he's not.
We were checking rates. We asked for rates.
No, you're not.
Okay. I'm gonna have, if you guys are all good, we're gonna step outside and we can continue this conversation.
All right, let's leave. So, all right, we're getting escorted out right now. The police have arrived. We were checking out the rates, seeing what was happening inside this building. No one would really speak with us. We did go inside the one daycare center, and she actually did give us rates for childcare. Much respect to that lady. What's the problem, officer?
Well, so again, we've been getting reports from multiple individuals that you guys were harassing individuals who work here. At the end of the day, this is private property, and it's one that people are allowed to ask you to leave, and it's also when the Minneapolis Police Department is allowed to enforce trespassing ordinance at this address.
Yeah.
So
As we got escorted out of this building, the Somalis filmed us as we left, and we headed over to the next building that had 22 of the same home health care providers operating from inside of the building.
Right here you have.
So you got Somalis that are filming them leaving. They know something's up. They go back to another building with another 22 home health care agencies, and nobody can offer them any work. To me, something's fishy going on there. Now, this was funny because they end up going to do daycare centers and investigate where are the kids. But there's no kids in any of the daycare centers. So where are they getting the money? Is it from the state? Sure appears to be. And how would you like to send your kid to a daycare center where they misspell learning center and it's spelled leering center?
Blatant, this fraud is here at this daycare.
Don't open up!
So this is Quality Leering Center. I meant to say Quality Learning Center.
Don't open
They
up!
said.
Now wait till you hear this lady that's she thinks they're ICE. These leftists are lunatics. They're blind robots, blind liberal zombies. She thinks they're ICE, and she's going to start screaming, "Don't open up, ICE is here." I mean, literally absurdity.
They spelt learning wrong.
Don't open up!
How do you have ICE here, ma'am? I'm literally a YouTuber.
Don't open up!
Ma'am, what do you think about the fraud that's taking place here in Minnesota?
Don't open up! We have ice!
And what do you think about this place being licensed for 99 children
Don't open up!
and getting $4 million over
Don't
the
open up! It's ice!
$4 million in the last 2 years?
Go away!
What do you think about that? Are you in
Go
favor?
away!
Are you in favor of that?
Go away!
You know
You're
what?
Do you see she cannot even process information? They told me to start screaming if I see ICE show up, so I'm going to start screaming and yelling, and they must be ICE. She can't process the information they're telling her. 99 children are supposed to be here. They got $4 million allegedly in state funds, and there's no kids here. Lady, wake up.
not welcome here.
Are you-
Shame on you.
Are you in favor of $1.9
Shame
million
on you.
going
It's ice.
illegally,
Don't open up!
fraudulently to this business that has Quality Learning Center but can't even spell learning right on the door?
Don't open up!
Ma'am, we are not ICE.
I don't care who you are, you don't belong here.
I belong here just like you belong here.
Don't open up! It's ice!
You do realize that there's supposed to be 99 children in here at this building, but there's no one here. This is a child daycare
Minnesota
center.
says 99 children. Paid $1.9 million.
Is she waking up? Is she waking up? Is she really waking up? It looks like are they wrestling her out of her deep trance?
This year in CCAP funding. Do you know where the children are? Were they kidnapped? They run away? Where are the children? This is state of Minnesota. Right here.
And who are you?
My name's Nick Shirley, ma'am.
And who are you with?
Nick Shirley. Nick Shirley on YouTube.
Yeah, so who are you with here?
Oh, he's just been doing some research investigating the fraud that's taking place here in Minnesota.
Yeah, I'm with Nick Shirley.
This lady, she's calling us ICE. We're just trying to put law and order back in the streets of the United States. Get rid of all the fraud. Have you ever seen children at that daycare center right there?
Where?
Yeah, it's right there. It says the child, you've never seen daycare.
I haven't seen anybody in there.
We're going to educate you on something. So what do you think about this?
Maybe she woke up. He got her to stop yelling ICE. Millions of dollars funneling through these places. And yet, there's no kids there. The media is not covering this story. I started to see this over the weekend everywhere on Twitter, Instagram. Nick Shirley exploded with this story. 50 million views. I think his full 42 or 52-minute video on this is 50 million plus views last I checked. And the mainstream media doesn't want to cover it? To me, that's a big problem. He confronted a Minnesota state representative over all of this.
Yes, but
He has some very valid questions to ask about what's going on here in Minnesota. And do you think this fraud
I don't know who
crosses?
you are.
My name's Nick Shirley. Do you think this fraud is Republican or Democrat, or just facts that fraud is happening? Because because that's what I heard you talking about.
I know what I said is that
because
what we're talking about
we want to build trust, but fraud is fraud. So why should we be enabling fraud to happen here?
No, I don't think anybody is enabling fraud to happen.
Hold Governor Walz accountable for this.
Okay, sir.
No. This
Sir,
is not.
sir.
When are you going to hold Governor Walz? No. She is a representative for the state of Minnesota. Yes or no?
Excuse me.
Yes. Are you?
If you're going to talk to me like
are
that.
Are you the state? I'm a disability advocate.
I heard you, and
get
you got a chance
overstimulated.
to testify.
Thank you for testifying today.
No.
Ma'am.
She needs to ask questions because she represents.
The facts are the facts that fraud is happening here, and it's not a nonpartisan issue. How come you think fraud has been able to happen so much underneath?
I think if you've been listening to our hearings, we've had now 10 hearings on this. And so there's really good data from the people who both work within the administration as well as who, both Democrat and Republicans. I think what you heard today is that the Republicans who control this committee are not actually interested in solving fraud. What they're interested in is telling a story.
This fraud has happened underneath Democrat leader Tim Walz.
There has been Medicaid fraud across the country under Democrats and Republicans.
Do you see what her excuse is? Well, there's fraud everywhere. That's not an excuse. That's not an excuse for a Republican. It's not an excuse for a Democrat. Just because there's fraud everywhere, and she's right, there is, by the way, under all kinds of administrations, too. Not just Democrat or Republican. This is a problem that is prolific inside government across this nation. But that's not the excuse. You need to stop it.
There's fraud within the Trump administration. We have is fraud. Private providers have made government a mark. And so every person running government, Democrats or Republicans, are dealing with the issue of how to keep fraudsters out of our public payment. We're also dealing with veterans. We're dealing with consumers. I hope you're looking at that. If you look at United Health, currently is being charged with defrauding Medicare. You know who runs Medicare? President Trump. And so it isn't a part.
It's all Trump's fault? Are you freaking kidding me? So you think all of this is Trump's fault? This is what they do. Well, Trump. Talk about Trump derangement syndrome. Talk about liberals with no accountability. You've got hundreds of billions of dollars worth of fraud now in Minnesota, and you're not screaming and yelling about it. If there was a Republican governor in Minnesota and we uncovered this, I would be screaming and yelling. Lord knows, all of you know I'm the first to call out Republican, quote, leadership. The first.
As an issue. The fact that you're trying to make it a partisan issue tells me you have an angle, which is fine. That's why I asked who you're with.
Well, a lot of fraud has happened here. Political correctness is
Governor
stopping.
Walz, President Trump, Governor, you look down the line, and I hope you're talking about that. Because if you look at what CMS has put out, right, Medicaid fraud is a 50-state issue. Mm-hmm. And so, again, it is not a partisan issue. There are Democrats and Republicans who are sitting in that committee talking about.
Has she once said, I want to get to the bottom of it here? I'm okay with you saying, hey, fraud is rampant around the country. We don't tolerate it in Minnesota. The moment I find out about it, the moment I want to squash it. I don't care whether it's Republican or Democrat. If there's fraud in this state, I represent the taxpayer of Minnesota. We're going to shut her down. She doesn't talk like that. Why? Because she's a Democrat. Democrats don't talk like that. At least a Republican will lie to you and tell you that. At least they'll make believe that they're going to cut the fraud out. You have very few principled politicians in this country that mean it when they say we're not going to tolerate this stuff. At least pretend for me, please, ma'am. But you can't, because you have to defend Walz, Tampon Tim, beta male Walz. You got to defend them to the end. Well, who gets hurt? The taxpayers.
But what you did here was the Republican chair say she's not turning information over to the one person in government who can stop payment. And I hope you print that.
Thank you for coming today.
Okay. Crazy. Well, you saw what happened there?
The state of Minnesota that we live in, and these politicians are just walking off thinking it's okay Tuesday, and they want to go visit the Trump, they want to blame the Trump administration. We have Democrats blaming ICE. I'm tired. My people are suffering. I'm scared for my little brother. My people are suffering, and these people just walk off. We have a governor who fucking doesn't care. How many more people are gonna freaking die? How many more people are gonna go homeless? And how many more people are going to be trafficked in our freaking system?
All good questions. A little dramatic for me. I mean, a little dramatic. I don't know if we need the tears. Like, let's all grow up and we can get angry. I don't mind the F-bomb because you almost deserve to drop F-bombs over this story. It's a little much. A little too much drama for me. So Nick Shirley went and talked about all this to the guy that he was with that really is the one that uncovered most of this. I want you to listen.
How deep is this fraud here inside of Minnesota?
It is far worse than anybody can imagine. You heard it's 7 to 10 billion and maybe more, and now the numbers have been revised and put out there publicly that they think it's more like 8 billion. How I got involved is that where my office is here in Minneapolis, I'm sort of in the heart of all of this fraud, and I would see these child care centers. I said, well, there aren't any kids there. It's the middle of the day, and all I see are a couple of guys standing out front smoking, and then I'd go by another daycare and I'd see the same thing. I said, well, where do these kids play? And so I started to go online and look, and I said, this place is licensed for 80 children. They had 0 children. Every time I went by there, they never had a single child there. Then I started to see all these transportation companies going around, and it was always a Somali driver. And I said, well, that's great. They're out there transportation, contributing, but they never had a passenger, never, ever once. And I said, well, what is all this transportation? What are they doing? So then I found out that in Minnesota, they have something called non-emergency medical transportation. So this is going to the dentist's office, therapy, whatever it might be. And I said, well, how many of these companies are there? And the research came back that there are 1,020 of them, and more than 800 of them are Somali-owned. Nobody from the state of Minnesota ever cross-checks to see if any rides were ever actually provided. All they did was write the check.
It's unbelievable. I actually looked at one of those non-medical transport companies to buy. They're great companies, and I don't think you need to cheat at it. Like, it's really a decent company. You go to an old folks' home, you pick up the lady that needs to either go to her doctor's office, go to a doctor's appointment, maybe they're going to go play bingo, and you drive them around, and, you know, you help the poor old people. It's a great business. But you don't defraud the state by not picking up anybody and billing for ghosts. But apparently, that's what the Somali community is doing. The Somali community may be the greatest community to commit fraud in the history of the United States of America. Wow, when you look at what is happening there. Now, I do want to talk about my buddies over at Energized Health for a minute. Check this out, and then we'll be back, and I'm going to do body language with you as a special treat during this holiday New Year week. All right, watch. All right, folks, as we move in on the new year, it's time to really think about your body. Are you taking care of it? And if you're not, that could cause some serious, serious problems. But there is help out there. My friends over at Energized Health, EnergizedHealth.com, EnergizedHealth.com. They helped me lose 15 pounds in 2 weeks. Watch this.
I almost passed away from COVID. And when I was in the hospital, the doctor told me, I want you to know my team's going to do everything we can, but you need to call your family and you need to say whatever you need to say. I was kind of having these images in my head of me being in a casket and them having to have extra people carry me. I was weighing 270. You know, I still struggled with the whole weight thing. I tried a couple of different things and it just wasn't working. I want to live a full life. I'm 6 feet and I'm weighing 228 right now. All of that's changed, but my mindset has changed. My clarity, my memory. I mean, I could go on and on. There's so much that has changed.
So, John, Energized Health, and I welcome John Jubilee, by the way, and Happy New Year. I hope you had a great Christmas as well, my friend. I was so eager to jump into it, I forgot to give you a big Happy New Year.
Well, Happy New Year.
All right, so he's got mental clarity. He talked about losing the weight. The list goes on and on and on with Energized Health. How is this possible?
Yeah, well, the beautiful thing, Grant, is, everyone can have great health. And, you don't have to be on the brink of death. But if you are, you can obviously come back and still have an amazing, fully powerful, fully energized life. But you could also just have anything in between. Maybe you just have joint pain, or you got that last 20 pounds you just can't lose, or maybe it's 50 pounds that you just gained, since high school. It just came on slowly. The beautiful part, Grant, about what we get to do is, it's 28 years, Grant. Think about this. Since 1997, been the joy of my life to get to help tens of thousands of real people, just like the folks that are with us today. Look, just real everyday people, that go to work and pay their taxes and, try to live a good life and to be good spouses. But if we don't have our health, it really is, it's like the pebble in the shoe, right? If you don't have your health, it's like a pebble in your shoe. You can't even walk comfortably. You can't enjoy the walk of life. And so, this is so joyful, Grant, to get to give people something that's real. And most importantly, though, it's sustainable. It's not like all these crazy gimmicks that are on the internet, today. And listen, we're friends, and we've helped a lot of people together. I mean, Grant, it's sad and it's hilarious at the same time to see all of the diets, all of the programs, all of the supplements. If you just scrolled on any given day, you could see 200 different fitness trainers and programs, and they contradict each other, Grant.
Yeah, they do.
They say do hit training, don't do hit training, or, run, don't run, lift weights, don't lift weights, eat meat, don't eat. I mean, it's so confusing for people. And I just want to encourage people, forget all the noise, keep it simple, do a little bit of research and find out, hey, who has a track record of success,
All right.
And the good thing. Go ahead.
So this is interesting because I'm very into fitness and I've used a bunch of these. I don't even call them diets because I'm always trying to tweak how I'm eating, what's going to be the most so I can build muscle and all of these things. And, they work for a while and then you get off them. I can't eat salami and cheese all my life. Like, it's just not going to work for me. So the Energized Health Protocol, when I think about it, I was listening to you talk, there's not one thing in it that anybody would say doesn't work or don't do. Am I right on that? I mean, I'm thinking about all the different little aspects of this, and there's not a lot. I mean, it's a pretty simple program, but there's not one thing I've ever heard anybody say, oh, no, that wouldn't be a good thing to do. Not one.
No, it's exactly true, Grant. We have fitness experts. There's fitness experts on television, Grant, on television, selling their product. They're our client. They did our program. They made us sign an NDA so we would never tell anybody that they're really our client.
Oh, my gosh.
But it's true. It doesn't matter if they're a fitness expert, if they're a doctor, if they're a professional athlete, or they're just, a blue-collar factory worker. This works for everybody.
All right. I told you about a Tibetan monk that had a great quote about your body and how important it is and the trouble that comes when you're healthy versus when you're not healthy. And I found the clip. I wanted to play it for you as a little New Year's treat because I really think it is a pretty amazing soundbite. Take a listen.
Just to have.
So I think offering Energized Health to yourself as a gift to yourself would be doing exactly what he just said. He's probably some Tai Chi master. What he didn't tell you is he's an Energized Health client too. No, I don't know if he is.
Well, let's hope so. Well, the good thing is at this time of year, I would encourage people this, Grant, that look, I'd ask you a question. How many New Year's resolutions have you made? And then they didn't work. How many programs and diets have you tried that didn't work? Well, I can look you right in the eyes and promise you, if you'll make a choice this year and say, look, this thing has a 28-year track record. They have tens of thousands of clients that this has helped, including someone they trust, which is you, Grant Stitchfield, and a lot of the other people on the Real America's Voice Network, by the way. And so why don't you do something different so you can have a different result? Because I will personally guarantee you this will be the last program you ever do, and it'll be the last New Year's resolution you ever make. How's that sound to you?
I mean,
Let's do that.
You can't beat that. So let me tell people where they can find you. And you know what? I want to offer up the My 5-5 challenge as well. My555challenge.com, right? You've got this program going on, 5 days. What is it? 5 days, $5, 5 pounds.
That's it.
That's it. So tell them about the My 555 challenge for me, John, and I'll make sure I send people to that website.
Yeah, so this will be the jumpstart for your New Year's, guys. So instead of, making another resolution or starting another program, no, do something that has a 28-year track record. Just go sign up. It's my555challenge.com.
All right.
And only make a 5-day commitment, Grant. They're just committing for 5 days. But then when they realize in 5 days, hey, wait a minute, this is really working and this is totally different, then you can make a commitment to join us, going beyond for our 88-day protocol. And I would encourage you to hit the VIP so that we can FedEx you a device to measure your intercellular hydration. So join the 555 and make yourself a VIP so that you get some extra value there.
It's great advice, John. Thank you for coming on. Let me show people again, my555challenge.com. It is about intercellular hydration. And John can help you and his team can help you. Go there and sign up. I mean, what do you got to lose? 5 pounds and $5. What more could you ask for? What a great program. And so many people have had success with this. My555challenge.com. John Jubilee, thank you. Energized Health, thank you. All right, folks, stick with me. All right, so one of the things that I love about my Real America's Voice show is the body language segment. I've played it on the podcast before with my buddy Greg Hartley. And so we put together some best of the body language segment for the Rav show during the holidays. And I thought I would play it for you here. This is best of body language.
Somebody named Jeffrey Epstein, as I had my team dig in very quickly. Mitt Romney, the NRCC, Lee Zeldin. I just want to be clear. If this is the standard that we're going to make, just know we're going to expose it all. And just know that the FEC filings, they are available for everybody to review.
Dr. Jeffrey Epstein, not child molester Jeffrey Epstein.
What's beautiful is she telegraphs that. She says, somebody named. Somebody named. Well, we should be suspicious of it right off, but we're not. And there's a good juxtaposition of the clips that you chose here because she's reading something like a cereal box as she reads the list of people. No passion, no animation in that. But then when she gets to defending her partner, then she starts to really come up and raise her hands and do all that and get passionate about it. So you should be suspicious right out of the gate when they say somebody named, not the notorious, not XYZ, somebody named.
What's the deal as I'm watching her now with no audio? I see her, it almost looks as if she was dancing to music as she does this back and forth.
Well, if you watch, it becomes something that some politicians do. You see them starting to dance up and move around and start doing that. She's doing this because that's stress. That's that chained elephant thing I'm talking about all the time. But that pounding her hand is her doing the politician move. But you can see it. She's reading those things and punctuating whoever's on the list. But when she gets to where she's talking about defending her partner, you see her hands come up. But she's swaying to release nervous energy.
All right, interesting. So she gets called out on this, obviously. It turned into a disaster for her. Let's roll her defending herself.
I wanted the Republicans to think about what could potentially happen because I knew that they didn't even try to go through the FEC. So my team, what they did is they Googled, and that is specifically why I said a Jeffrey Epstein. Unlike Republicans, I at least don't go out and just tell lies. Because it was not the same one, that's fine. But when Lee Zeldin had something to say, all he had to say was it was a different Jeffrey Epstein.
So she admits it.
But my first question, Well, this reminds me of I love Gilda Radner in the old days of Saturday Night Live, and she would play a character named Emily Latella, where she'd go off down the wrong path for 5 minutes about an issue and be adamant and ranting, and then Chevy Chase would say, it's SST, not ST. And she'd go, never mind. That's about what you see here. No apology. She tries to double down and then start talking about this stuff. You can see she knows at some point that she's been an idiot because her blink rate goes through the roof. And she has eye lock with the interviewer. The interviewer doesn't lean on her at all. And she shows contempt, that rise of one side of her face as she talks about the Republicans. And then she does another qualifying statement. At least I don't just go out and tell lies. She doesn't say she doesn't do it. She just says, I don't just go out and tell lies. So it's really interesting. But if you watch her get into that last piece, when she gets to her talking points about what she wants to say, that FEC stuff, she gets animated.
I'd never seen this before. People driving by my house and using the R word in front of people. This is shameful. And I have yet to see an elected official, a Republican elected official, say, you're right, that's shameful. He should not say it. So look, I'm worried. We know how these things go. They start with taunts, they turn to violence. So deeply concerned.
Greg?
Look at all that passion in his hands and all. He's telling ghost stories around the Democrat campfires, what he's doing. He's making it out that this is a horrible, horrible, horrible thing about to happen, and these are precursors to it. Look at all the anger in his face, all the things that should be there, even the down aggression and all that. If there were somebody challenging him on this, we'd see different body language, because stress causes different body language. But when you're standing in front of your constituents and you go storytelling, this looks like he's doing the right thing for his constituents.
What's the difference between guys who like to stand behind a podium and guys who want the mic? When I give speeches, I like the mic. I like to walk the stage. A lot of guys will say, no, I want to be behind the podium. Is there anything you read into that?
No, some people just aren't comfortable out in front of people. I'm quite comfortable. I actually hate a handheld mic because I talk with my hands so much. I feel like a lounge singer when I'm trying to talk and move on stage with a mic. And so I don't feel as comfortable behind a podium either. I have a way to find myself out and get among people. But I think some people are so accustomed that it just feels like a good anchor point. And even when Hillary Clinton was running for president the first time, she would rarely leave it and keep her hand on it when she was talking. So it's comfort.
Got it. Interesting. Okay. Next one. Ilhan Omar on CNN talking about the fraud going on in Minnesota.
I think what happened is that, when you have these kind of new programs that are designed to help people, you're oftentimes relying on third parties to be able to facilitate. And I just think that a lot of the COVID programs that were set up, they were set up so quickly that a lot of the guardrails did not get created.
Greg, let me set this up with this. I believe she knew about the fraud going on, and I want an investigation for that. With that assumption from me, when you look at her, what can you tell?
The first thing I'm going to say is this, because remember, I'm an intel collector first, body language came second. When I hear common language from uncommon places, I want to know why. She just used the same language we heard Walsh use earlier. New programs. That sounds like an industrialized talking point from this organization of people running that whole government in Minnesota. So I want to hear what's going on there as well. That's number one. Number two, when she's talking about third parties, look at a little disgust in her face as the sides of her face rise. And then finally, after she's delivered this whole message, again, with no stress applied because Tapper's not going to push her, you see she looks away, looks down to her right, and does a little disapproval, as if she's wondering how what she has said will be perceived or construed or analyzed, like what we're doing here.
Is that subconscious when someone does that?
Yeah, I think when we're thinking, if you sit right now and you make a mistake when you're talking and then you look away and go, like she's not doing that intentionally at the very end. It's just part of who she is.
And we run away from the water. People won't go to the gym because we're trying to keep our hair straight for y'all. It is exhausting and it's so expensive and it takes up so much time. Braids are for y'all so we can work harder and focus on the work.
Greg, I just have to make my own little commentary. No white person is demanding that black people have straight hair. It's not happening. If black people want straight hair, that they're doing it on their own, but I'll let you take it away here on that.
Well, I'll trade with you, sister, is my first line, I want to say. But at the end of the day, what she's doing is she's playing to her base. Watch her. She has those long, drawn vowels. She's pulling people toward her. This is just her talking. This is entertainment as much as anything for her. If you don't believe it, listen to when she does one of those long, drawn out pulls and she's pulling somebody back and she turns and looks at this other person sitting on stage. This is all, I wouldn't say it's choreographed, but it's damn near choreographed.
I was going to say, is there a way to figure out whether she actually believes this? Like, how do you actually tell that this is just literally red meat to the base? Which I will tell you, I engage in that every now and then. I'll say, hey, this is a story. This is red meat for Stinchfield's army. Let's go. Let's roll. But
well, and there's nothing wrong with it, right? Well, the only thing you can see, the reason I say it is look at her demonstrative brow down doing her thing, and then she will look and she'll pull with the words. She's trying to drag them along with her. If she were, look, we've watched Michelle Obama enough that when she's passionate about something, she is adamant. She's has her hands up and she's up in what Mark Bowden would call the passion plane. We don't see that. She's not passionate about this. This is just content.
All right. Hunter Biden. So we go from Michelle Obama to Hunter Biden. I mean, we got all the big names on the Democrats that I don't really like very much. Here, well, let's play his clip.
Just as a son, as a man, this mother, the way that he talks about my dad, him. And again, sorry for my language.
It's okay.
But he is obsessed. And I tell you the reason why he's obsessed. Because unlike anyone else, my dad kicked his ass.
Greg, I got to tell you, he looks like a child there.
Well, who knows how much of that is made up and not real? I mean, this guy, I don't mean by that, I mean his face, all the makeup and all that kind of stuff, because he did some pretty horrendous damage to himself back in all those drug days. So he just looks odd, and he looks like he's trying to get across a message. Has his hands folded, he's milling, he's got something he came to say, and I think it plays right nicely into another clip you guys have, oddly enough.
You know, he's sitting there, and he's like, down almost like a third grader who's been scolded by the teacher. I don't know. That's what I take away when I look at him.
Well, he's had his tail closed in the door a couple of times in the past year. You know, so he was, I mean, he was in real trouble, and his dad let him out with that, whether he auto-pended or who knows how he got out. But look, he's been in real trouble. He has to be a little bit cautious, I would think. But he's also working from facts that are all his own when he goes to talk about how badly his father beat Trump and all those kinds of things, which plays nicely into your Abby clip.
Now do you see? That, folks, is the great Greg Hartley. ReadBodyLanguage.com, ReadBodyLanguage.com. He does such a great job. Hey, we'll have shows all this week. Happy New Year to you. Real America's Voice show tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern time. And we'll have a great show for you then. I want to get into this whole fraud situation between California and Minnesota. We'll do that tonight on the show. And then illegal aliens and the real deal with crime stats and taking up prisons. Got some eye-opening numbers for you on the Real America's Voice show tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern time. Before I let you go, let me just remind you about this course that I created, the MaverickSystem.com, themavericksystem.com. This is about going on offense, start winning again. I priced it basically free. I want to get some testimonials from folks. Some people have been signing up, saying great things about it. This is about teaching you how to go get what you want, how to be unapologetic about it, how to be bold about it. TheMaverickSystem.com. I spent some time on it. I think you'll like it. TheMaverickSystem.com. Check out the website. That, folks, is going to do it for us. GrantStinchfield.com, 1776. Stinchfield, 1776 on all the social media platforms. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. Stinchfield's Army rolls. Thanks to you. Happy New Year.